Hello, this is Dr. Cromer, and this is a quick tutorial on using GPower analysis to determine sample size estimation. It's important to recognize that what we're determining here is the minimum sample size, not the sample size you actually need. Let's open up GPower and bring it over into our picture here. I know it's small, a little hard to see, but we'll talk through it. If you open it up on your computer and walk through this at the same time, you'll see how easy it is to use. Our test family, the default is t-test. What we want to go to is f-test, because in pretty much all the types of tests that we want to run, we're interested in the f-test because we're interested in the effect size and we're interested in knowing if we have statistical significance. So our statistical test is going to be linear multiple regression, fixed model, R-squared deviation from zero. That's true regression, whether you use an AMOS or whether you're using path analysis with Smart PLS. They're all forms of linear multiple regression, just with different mixes. And our type of power analysis, the a priori is what we wanted, which is the default. So for our input parameters, first thing we're going to look at is effect size. 0.015, that is the default, and that's where we wanted at. And if I can get that window to say popped up, we can see 0.15 is a medium effect, 0.02 is a small effect, 0.35 is a large effect. So we want a medium effect. Our error of probability, we want to set at 0.05. And what that is that's the alpha level, the p-value that we're looking for statistical significance. We want our statistical significance to be less than or equal to 0.05. Our power, which is 1 minus our error probability, is going to be 95%, which gives us a 95% confidence that the findings we have are true. The number of predictors, if you look at the research model that you're working with, the number of predictors is the number of independent mediating or moderating variables. The only thing you don't count there is dependent variables. So if you look at your model, if a variable has arrows proceeding from it going somewhere else, that's a predictor variable. If a variable only has arrows coming into it and nothing coming out of it, then that's a dependent variable and you don't count that. So let's say we had four. Let's say we had 4 independent variables, or 4 predictor variables that were either independent variables, moderators, or mediators in our model. Once we have that data, all we do is click calculate, and it comes up and tells us on this side, our critical F is the F value that we need to reject the null. The numerator is 4. This gives us our degrees of freedom, but the biggest thing we're looking for is right here, the total sample size. For this particular calculation, our total sample size, minimum sample size we need is 129. Now here at Trident, we set our university minimum at 200. We want you to have at least 200 samples, so you have a good what you is for a range of values, all right? And let's look at this. And so all we want to do is we want to add displaying values in the plot. And let's set our number of digits to 0, all right? And let's draw that plot. Okay, now what we have is a plot to where on this axis we have the total sample size. On this axis we have the power, all right? And as we increase the number of cases we have, the number of participants, our power increases. So at 95%, which is what we set, 129 is the number of participants we need to have that minimum size of power. So this is a really good table figure to use in your document. Usually you'll want to put this in an appendix, not up in the narrative, but really both these tables are good to use together because this one shows what your minimum number is and it shows what your inputs were, and it also shows which test you used. This one shows the test and the inputs at the top, So you could get away with just using this one and leaving this one out, but it's a nice touch to include both of them. And so that concludes the tutorial. If you have any questions, be sure to reach out to me or to your professor, and they'll give you additional guidance. But it's a really easy program to use, and one that is very valuable when you're putting together your research methods. Thank you.